The risen Christ has appeared not only to Mary Magdalene and to some apostles, but to many of the disciples of Jesus, aside from the 12, not only once, but several times. And precisely that's the reason why that the charisma of the apostles is about the resurrection of Jesus. That is the central proclamation. And even in the gospel that we heard today, Jesus has shown himself to the apostles. Yesterday we saw him on the road to Emmaus with Cleopas and the other disciple. And many of us are thinking, how come that Jesus is able to appear in different places, to go to different places? What kind of body does he have? The sacred scriptures and the Catholic theology teach us that the glorified body of Jesus and our glorified body, if we will resurrect, will experience 4 characteristics or properties as an outflow of the beatified soul enjoying the vision of God's essence. What are these 4 qualities or characteristics? Number 1 is clarity or brilliance. The glorified body will be free from any deformity and will be filled with beauty and radiance. As we heard in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, the just shall shine as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. And also in the book of Wisdom, the just shall shine and shall run to and fro like sparks among the weeds. Here, clarity refers not being clear, but to being bright and shining. Number 2 characteristic is impassibility. The glorified body will no longer suffer physical sickness or death. It will not suffer pain nor injury, so that it will not have that kind of suffering that we have now whenever we get sick, whenever we get COVID, whenever we get injured. No suffering, as St. Paul teaches. And we saw this in his letter to the Corinthians in chapter 15. It is sown in corruption, it shall rise in incorruption. Third characteristic is agility, agile, or the movement is fast. The glorified body will obey the soul with greatest ease and speed of movement, as we read in the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 43. It is sown in weakness, it shall rise in power. That is according to a gloss, mobile and living. St. Thomas Aquinas says, mobility can only signify agility in movement. Therefore, the glorified bodies will be agile. The agility of the resurrected Jesus is his ability to bilocate and even multilocate. So Jesus would be seen in different places. And that body can travel with great distances in an instant. Even faster, perhaps faster than supersonics. He was with his disciples on the road to Emmaus, as we heard in yesterday's gospel. Jesus appeared before Peter and the apostles as they were fishing on the sea, in the Sea of Galilee, and these are instances of the agility of a glorified body. And the 4th characteristic is subtlety, subtle, meaning that we will have a spiritualized nature in the sense of a spiritual body, as did our Lord Jesus. And with this we heard in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15. It is sown a corruptible body, it shall rise a spiritual-like body. We see that Christ's glorified body was able to enter the room, passing through closed doors, and greeted his apostles, "Peace be with you." And this we heard in today's gospel reading according to St. Luke. So that St. Thomas Aquinas, in his Summa Contra Gentiles, summarizes these 4 qualities. He said, thus also will his body be raised to the characteristics of heavenly bodies. It will be lightsome, that is clarity. It will be incapable of suffering, that is impassibility. It has without difficulty and labor in movement, that is agility. And the most perfectly perfected by its form, which is subtlety. It is worth noting that the Blessed Virgin Mary has already received that glorified and resurrected body. She has those 4 gifts of the resurrection. This post-resurrection appearance of the historical Jesus happened 2,000 years ago, far from our time and place. But we are gathered here in this Easter season. We are gathered today in this Mass. In every Sunday that we celebrate the good news of Jesus' resurrection. We joyfully celebrate because we believe and we hope for our future resurrection.